rare dry lightning storms start 800 plus fires in California in just one day. That's incredible. In less than a day, an electrical storm unleashed approximately 8,000 lightning strikes that set more than 800 wildfires across Northern California. A very rare example of dry lightning that brought little or no rain, but a lot of sparks to the state's parched forests and grasslands. It's never been drier, as far as anybody knows. The weekend storm was unusual not only because it generated a tremendous amount or so many lightning strikes over a large geographical area, but also because it struck so early in the season and moved in from the Pacific Ocean, but with little or no moisture. Such storms usually don't arrive until late July or August, and typically form southeast of California. This is very rare indeed. In other words, it's more like electrical storms, like electromagnetism. You're looking at a pattern that's climatologically very rare. We typically don't see this happen at this time of summer or any time, said John Juski, a science officer with the National Weather Service in Sacramento. To see 8,000, that's way up there on the scale. Thousands and thousands of firefighters battled the blazes from the ground and air. The lightning-caused fires have scorched tens and tens of thousands of acres and forced hundreds and hundreds of residents to flee their homes. It's just extremely, extremely dry. That means any little spark at all has the potential to cause a great big fire. Despite the many lightning strikes that hit the ground, the weekend thunderstorm brought little precipitation because the rain evaporated in hot, dry layers of the atmosphere before it ever hit the ground. The lightning or electromagnetic or electrical storm struck California when the state was experiencing one of its driest years on record ever. Earlier this month, the governor declared a statewide drought and directed agencies to speed up water deliveries to drought-stricken areas. And many communities have adopted strict conservation measures. And from San Francisco to Los Angeles, cities have only seen a very tiny fraction of the rainfall they normally receive at this point in a typical year. In the Central Valley, the cities of Sacramento, Modesto, Stockton, and Red Bluff have recorded their driest March to May periods since at least the 19th century, according to the Weather Service, if not ever. Record dryness. A combination of lightning and very dry fuels will spark fires. And it doesn't take very much, especially with how very dry it is. This is a very unusual fire season. Even before the lightning struck, California had already seen an unusually large number of destructive wildfires, with approximately, or at least 140 square miles burned, compared to about 66 square miles during the same period last year, according to state officials. And the fire season typically, or normally, does not peak until late summer or early fall. This is not a good sign. It's not a good omen. This doesn't bode well for the fire season. said Ken Clark, a meteorologist in Southern California. We're not even into the meat of the fire season at this point, and the brush is so extremely dry, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. Yes, these are the beginning of sorrows. The weekend's lightning storm combined with extremely dry conditions to spark or start approximately 840 separate blazes from the Big Sur area of Monterey County to Del Norte County on the Oregon border. By contrast, or in comparison, 574 lightning-sparked fires blackened about 86 square miles in Northern California in all of 2007. So in other words, in just one day or one weekend, there's been more fires started in just one weekend by lightning. No, there's something going on here with the weather. Something that's different. Something unusual. Could it be the pole shift has begun? Yes, it's very possible. The electromagnetic pole. The magnetic poles do shift ever so often, and nobody's ever been around to see it happen before. So there's nobody really knows exactly how it goes. But perhaps the pole shift has begun. There's something really going on here besides just a usual drought. No, there's nothing usual or normal about the weather nowadays at all. Anyway, one of the state's worst wildfire years occurred in 2001 when more than 2,000 lightning-caused blazes burned about 289 square miles. And this one could be worse, huh? Some areas, just some of the areas, hit the hardest by the weekend thunderstorm include Mendocino County, where at least 131 fires have burned more than 20 square miles and threatened at least 500 homes. Butte County, where at least 25 fires have burned about 6 square miles and threatened at least 400 homes. And the Shasta Trinity Forest, where more than 150 fires have burned at least 12 square miles and threatened 200 homes. The biggest fire burning in California started more than 2 weeks ago in a remote region of the Los Padres National Forest in southern Monterey County. That approximately 91 square mile blaze. That's huge. And the Weather Service has said more dry thunderstorms could strike Northern California again later this week. And actually, there's many wildfires burning in the west. Some in Arizona, New Mexico, just all kinds of states. Probably Texas too. And at least several wildfires also were burning in New Mexico, where approximately 150 children were evacuated from a youth camp on Tuesday as a blaze in the Manzano Mountains closed in, or doubled in one day, because it's so dry. It's never been drier actually, but anybody can remember. Not in the western part of the United States, or some parts of it at least. Well, this has to do with a lot of things. And these are more signs. The end times, transition days, whatever you want to call it. And there are many, many signs.